I mean, one of the the other big change is that at some point they started having mobile phones, and that is the big revolution that has changed. That they are wiser when it comes to the internet and the use of phones and technology. I'm about to say archaic terms now for sort of the by handheld devices and and the World Wide Web. They are as wise or wiser about that than their teachers, and they have their own way of surviving through that, which I suspect we still haven't really understood. They've never known any different now, of course.
Did you remember receiving your first ever school email?
No, I wish I'd kept that. I do remember that we had a school post before we had these things, where we'd send little letters and the post would be picked up from a pigeonhole in the common room. The pigeonholes were much bigger in those days because they might store things like bottles of wine and whiskey as well, moose's heads. But there was a school post, and you could say so-and-so college, and it would be put on the notice board in college, and that was quite useful. It worked. I think there was a similar system at Oxford when I was there. What did you ask me about email? We had all sorts of ways of communicating with each other without needing those things. You often just went to find someone. So I wouldn't dream of doing this now, but I often went into a boarding house and knocked on a school and said, "Here's your essay." I was knocked on a door, and that seems extraordinary now, that you'd actually sort of go and look for a pupil, or they would come to the common room and knock on the door. Of course, that's disappeared now altogether. But first emails and so on, I can remember pioneering souls in the common room starting to use the computers when they arrived in the 90s. I think Danny Gill was trying to sort out station, he was head of station, on a computer, and he would have been better off at that stage doing it with pen and paper, because it was such a labour for him to try and use the computer to help him sort out station. And he left in 94, so that's a very early use. But yes, I don't think people realise that emails and the internet, we had no safety nets. People didn't realise that if you put something out there, other people could retrieve it. We weren't actually warned about that. And to this day, there might be things floating around from that era that shouldn't be. But I know that David Summerscale, when he left in 1998, was given his email address by Nick Stevenson, who ran the computer department, and he simply put it in a drawer next to his desk and said, "I will not be needing that." So he never emailed while here, and that's summer 98.
I'd never seen an email myself by summer 98.